Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Adam.
And I'm Bruce.
And welcome back to Scam Watch 2016.
Scam Watch 2016! In the past, people used to buy boxes full of bricks out of car trunks. Now, apparently, they just snag suspiciously cheap codes from G2A.
Hey now, Bruce. That's
Yeah.
unsubstantiated.
No, it's not.
The scam part, not the cheap part.
Oh.
G2A codes are cheap as hell.
That's true.
That is a thing.
Regardless, the online code retailer has run afoul of another game developer, Tiny Build Games. Developers of No Time to Explain and publishers of Punch Club and Speedrunners recently detailed their issues with the key distributor in a blog post on tinybuild.com.
And before we dive into the story, we should first explain how G2A works. The post written by Tiny Build CEO Alex,
Nichiporchik?
Nichiporchik. That's the one.
Nichiporchik, yeah, there you go.
We learned a new word today. Describes G2A as eBay for game keys. This is a pretty great summary.
What the hell is G2A, Lawrence?
In the best of circumstances, it just provides a way for gamers to sell unused copies of digital games. Often these are codes you get with bundles or promotions that you either don't have or don't want or already have, whatever. Rather than try and find someone on your Steam's friend list that doesn't already have a copy of Bad Rats, you can just sell it back for a couple bucks on G2A.
Oh,
Ideally, everybody wins in that scenario. The original developer got revenue from the original sale, you get a couple of bucks for the code you weren't going to use, and somebody out there gets a cheap copy of the game. It's wins all around, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's winning.
No, as Nichiporchik describes, boy, that's hard to say. This business model is fundamentally flawed and facilitates a black market economy.
Oh no, don't make it a race issue. So apparently there are key resellers that have a whole routine set up. These entrepreneurs will buy stolen credit cards in bulk on the dark web, buy tons of game codes off of bundle sites, and then sell those keys back through G2A.
Yeah, so once the credit cards are discovered as fraudulent, the original key sellers are then hit with chargebacks. That means that essentially a key reseller got a load of codes without paying for them and then sold those to other players that have no idea they're getting a stolen code.
Nichiporchik summarizes the problem directly by saying, quote, G2A are facilitating a fraud-fueled economy where key resellers are being hit with tons of stolen credit card transactions, and these websites are now growing rapidly due to low pricing of game keys.
Right, he backs up all this rhetoric with some math too. Nichiporchik posted unit sales and average unit price data he received from G2A, and the results are not great, right, Lawrence?
Yes, across the 3 games sold, G2A's total revenue amounted to $197,000. Sounds like a lot, but those same number of sales, had they gone through full retail, would have brought in $450,000 of revenue. So to put that another way, even when sales on G2A are legitimate, as in there's no chargebacks and Tiny Build actually got money from that sale, they still resulted in less than half of retail's revenue. So even when G2A's functioning as intended, it's still cutting their profits by half.
Got it.
Interesting. And to Nichiporchik's credit, he apparently tried every avenue to resolve this problem with G2A.
Okay.
But according to him, G2A was largely unconcerned with his problems. They probably like their money. Essentially, G2A wanted a full list of compromised codes and suggested that Tiny Build sell direct on G2A to compete with their own key resellers directly. Wow.
So why can't Tiny Build just do that? Well, since keys are sold in bundles combined with other keys, it's nearly impossible to track down which specific codes were fraudulently purchased.
Yeah, either Tiny Build would have to dedicate lots of time and people to investigating specific codes, or they'd have to deactivate full batches of them, which would include legitimate customers or those who had unwittingly purchased fraudulent codes. Either situation isn't exactly good for the end consumer.
Yeah, it really isn't. As far as direct competition goes, that doesn't really work out. As the previous sales data shows, Tiny Build would have to sell their games at less than half just to compete with key resellers that may have been stealing their product in the first place.
Oh boy. There's more notes on this, right, Lawrence?
Boy, it gets messy. So
It already is.
yeah, Nichiporchik makes specific note in his post to state that not all partner resellers are as problematic as G2A, these particularly bundle resellers. He writes, quote, I can confirm without a doubt that these partners do not resell their keys. And then he lists Humble Bundle, Bundle Stars, Indie Game Stand, and Indie Gala. He goes on to say, there are trusted partners and everything you buy from them is legit.
So what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, is G2A on the level or not?
I think we kind of always ask ourselves that question whenever we talk about G2A. So for what it's worth, this isn't the first time G2A has been singled out for problematic reselling.
Yeah, indie publisher Devolver Digital called the company out on Twitter in May 2014, stating directly that Devolver Digital games purchased on G2A.com are not legitimate, not guaranteed, and not supported. We are actively canceling those keys.
Wow, geez. In the ensuing discussion with the G2A, Devolver makes it clear that they tried private communications with G2A and received no response.
Yeah, and similarly to the current situation, G2A didn't offer much in the way of solutions. Granted, that's just over Twitter. It's possibly a more meaningful discussion did happen in private, but we don't know.
Most notably, there's the whole deal with League of Legends and Riot Games, right?
Yeah, this happened pretty recently, actually. So in October 2015, Riot actually banned G2A as a sponsor for any team participating in the League Championship Series, citing their selling of leveled League of Legends accounts, which is a violation of their terms of service.
Yeah.
G2A is pretty popular at that strata of gaming. You might see a lot of Twitch streams, a lot of burgeoning esports players with G2A sponsorships. It's because they have an affiliate program that seems pretty generous. Regardless, that was a pretty big deal because a lot of companies were repping them at the time and getting revenue from that. So for them to just cut all that out was a pretty sincere move by Riot's part.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
So as always, we leave you with a question, and what does this mean for you guys?
In the most practical terms, you probably shouldn't buy codes from G2A if you're concerned about potentially receiving a stolen code.
Yeah, odds are they won't get deactivated, though, based on the situation TinyBuild described previously.
Yeah, on a more moral level, you'll just have to decide for yourself if you're okay supporting a market that undercuts game developers, right, Lawrence?
Yeah. To me, this is similar to GameStop's used games and things like that. That was a big dust-up about 10 years ago at this point.
yeah.
A lot of big publishers were saying that the used market was completely undercutting their revenues.
Right.
A lot of customers didn't give a shit because games were already expensive and they needed a bit of a price break. So this is kind of in that situation, but not as easy to paint down.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys may enjoy sticking it to Activision or Electronic Arts. Those bastards, fuck you for
Evil
Battlefront.
corporation.
Yeah, right. But TinyBuild is a little less villainous. You know, they've just put out one game as a flash game. They turned it into a full retail release. They're publishing a lot of smaller games. They're publishing Cluster Truck,
Ooh, that's
which
fun.
yeah, is super fun. We did a video on it. So it's really hard to paint them as like the greedy assholes in this situation. I'm not going to say that you should or shouldn't do anything, but maybe consider that when you're trying to save $10 on a game.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as our analysis goes, there is an established precedent that could work against G2A if this ever escalates to a legal battle.
Yeah, presumably G2A is in the clear since they're just providing a service on which illegal actions happen to occur. People sell stolen shit on eBay all the time, and eBay doesn't get in trouble for it.
Nope, just the middleman. So, however, something slightly more analogous happened nearly 20 years ago.
Okay.
Do you guys remember Napster? Hello?
I'm thinking-
Lars?
Napoleon says he does, but
Good. Thank God.
Okay,
Oh.
good.
He only remembers it from the hit film The Social Network, now on G2A.com. Tell him Adam sent you. Either, regardless, Napster was one of the internet's first mass file sharing services. As such, it almost immediately drew the ire of the music industry.
Yeah, that's right. The Recording Industry Association of America sued the company in December 1999, leading to its eventual shutdown.
The lawsuit established a precedent that a service provider is also responsible for the infractions that occur on that service.
Oh, wow.
Or at the very least, they must show a good faith effort at preventing those infractions.
Now, realistically, there's no way an indie developer like TinyBuild or Devolver Digital could bring a similar lawsuit to G2A.
However, if G2A gets on the wrong side of Activision or Electronic Arts, that could be another story.
Yeah, that's true. For now, it just seems that G2A will continue operating as usual, even if it is making enemies in the game development space.
Yeah, but what do you guys think, Lawrence? I'm talking to you, Lawrence. What do you think?
I have the luxury of having disposable income, so it's very easy for me to say I want to buy all my games at full retail and support the people who make them, especially when it comes to indie developers that may be trying to fund less common games, ones that may be a little more offbeat. I can say that. I have the luxury of saying that because I can kick $10 here and there to a game. I know, like for people in college or people in high school, people that may not have very good paying jobs yet, it's a little harder to make that argument. When you really want to play games but you can barely afford food, you find a way to make it work. So I can see both sides to this. It's tough. I think ideally everybody would do everything the exact right way. I have the luxury of doing that, so that's kind of where I get to sit.
If I'm just going to buy the game, I'm just going to buy the game. I'm going to buy it, like retail or whatever through Origin or Steam or whatever. But if I'm not going to buy the game, I wouldn't do this, but maybe you'd pirate it. Maybe you just get it for free instead. Again, not encouraging it. It doesn't make any sense to me to go halfway down the middle with G2A where they're basically selling stolen codes and taking people's money and stuff like that. That doesn't make any sense because at that point, I think you're just hurting the industry. Also, piracy is hurting the industry too. But that's what, if it were me and I wanted to save money, that's what I would do. But I'm not gonna, I don't do that.
It's like it's all illegal.
Nobody's endorsing anything.
Just sell drugs.
Also, I found a rash on my leg last night. That was weird.
Uh-oh.
Maybe heat related.
Yeah, it's probably definitely heat
I
related.
found a zit on my lip.
Uh-oh.
And I thought it was a cold sore too, just like the rest of you. And then I was like, no, that's
That is it?
that's white. And I'm like, what is it? And then I just went,
Did you pop it?
I popped it. And it
Yeah.
can't, and it was, I thought like maybe this is ball gag related. Like maybe those ball
yeah,
gags
yeah.
that Lawrence got weren't washed.
That makes sense.
And I had a fucking canker sore because herpes man used it before me.
They were new in wrapper.
Yeah, they were brand new.
Doesn't mean they didn't try them out on the assembly line in China.